By the time of the Clone Wars, blasters had been the weapon of choice for many thousands of years. Although slug throwers did exist, they were seen by many as crude and less accurate than a blaster. A blaster bolt's effect on the body was also in many ways much more lethal than a traditional slug. To understand the effect it had on the body of a victim, we must first take a look at how blaster bolts actually worked. Blaster bolts were effectively packets of high-energy particles, or plasma. They used a variety of different gases that were heated up to unfathomably high temperatures, before being focused into a bolt and ejected down the barrel. Blasters, of course, came in a variety of shapes, sizes, and blaster bolt color. Most blasters used tibanna gas, which was extracted from mines such as Cloud City. This produced red blaster bolts, which was the least powerful form of a blaster bolt. Blue blaster bolts were slightly more powerful, while also being highly effective against droids. Green, orange, or purple blaster bolts were more powerful, but used a much more expensive form of blaster gas. The effect that a blaster bolt had on an organic being varied depending on the blaster type, bolt color, and power setting. However, generally speaking, the effect of a blaster bolt would be quite similar. Due to the high energy plasma, blaster bolts contained a high amount of kinetic and heat energy. When a bolt travelled into a target's body, the heat of the plasma would instantly vaporize a victim's flesh, with the heat energy immediately dissipating into the victim's body and cauterizing the wound. The liquid inside the victim's body would immediately boil, causing severe internal bleeding and damaging surrounding tissues. Simultaneously, the concussive force of the blaster bolt would travel outward, causing additional damage to organs or tissues that surrounded the point of impact. The impact was often enough to immediately knock the target unconscious, or in some cases, kill them immediately. While the cauterization of the wound prevented bleeding, the heat and concussive damage to the surrounding tissues meant that they were far more deadly than a slug hitting an area with vital organs. However, one drawback was that if you hit the victim's legs or arms, they would often be fine, due to the immediate cauterization of the wound, which prevented severe bleeding. However, as we discussed earlier, blaster bolts came in a variety of different power levels and forms. For instance, some blaster bolts contained far less heat energy and far more kinetic energy. Some of these blaster bolts contained enough concussive force to rupture organs and break bones, while also causing bleeding around the area of impact. Although being struck with a blaster bolt was a pretty horrific way to go, it pales in comparison to the incredibly gruesome and horrific death caused by the Mandalorian disruptor rifle, used by Boba Fett and Din Djarin. In fact, it was so bad that even the Empire banned it for being too cruel. If you want to find out why the disruptor was so cruel, then check out this video.